Welcome back to the ongoing director's commentary track for C for Chaos, or the Odyssey of C for Chaos, as I like to call it. This is writer, director, producer, stand-in when needed, JT McRoberts. Thanks for joining me. And of course, we come in to this fantastic intro animation created by editor Esbrent Bowers, or Sebrente, as we like to call him, as we zoom in this ominous shot on the Earth as otherworldly forces make their way towards our hapless heroes in C for Chaos. C for Chaos is a very appropriate and apropos title, one might say, because the process of making this particular project was indeed chaotic. It was our first time dedicating ourselves to creating what was ostensibly a full-length feature. Unfortunately, we set out filming before we had a final script, and this was an issue discussed very early on in production, but I thought, well, David Cronenberg didn't have a finished script for Videodrome, Coppola was writing and rewriting Apocalypse Now all throughout the filming. If they could do it, we could do it, what the heck. But definitely turned out to be a fairly tall order, because the script went on for quite some time, and so did the filming. And we wound up with so much footage and story that it's just way too big to fit into one movie. We would literally have to chop it into 2 or 3 parts, like a final Harry Potter movie or something. But anyway, here we catch up with the comic shop, the mythic comic shop. When we knew we were going to film in here at the Comic Conspiracy, I immediately thought that we want to preserve this for posterity. Now, I had no idea that it would actually change locations very soon after we completed filming, and would indeed never be seen in this exact form again. We catch up here with 2 of our lead characters, Art and Jimmy, played by Scott Thomas and Belton Horton. And there we see young Andrew playing the character of Spike, who is supposed to represent all the young men that come in and buy comic books at the comic shop, because that's what it's all about. Excuse me for a second while I drink my Diet Pepsi here. Because that was one of the great things about the comic shop, is there was always a table in the back where pretty much anybody could come in and spend time, reading some of the books if they want to, or usually, writing or drawing, sketching something at the back, sharing some kind of artwork that they've been working on, some newsletter, anything along those lines. I really like this sequence here. The actors all really rose to their game in this scene. Everybody pulled each other up, and we'd been into filming so long at this point. I think this is probably a year and a half into the process. We started at the beginning of 2004, so this was probably deep in 2005 when we filmed this particular sequence. And Scott had really grabbed a hold of the character of Art, and he used Art's motivation of just being a struggling artist, wanting to survive on his art alone, with a certain purity and integrity intact, meaning he wasn't going to quote-unquote sell out and take easy commercial projects. He was actually going to try to create something unique and wholly original and completely his own. Kind of forge his way like the early comic pioneers, or any pioneers in any particular art form, what have you. But I like this particular sequence. I don't know, people might, some of the speeches and things here might drag on to some people, but to me this was really important to kind of wrap up some of the different themes and some of the subtext and symbolism running around in this film / now ongoing web series that is called C for Chaos. I love this interaction between Ben and Andrew here. Andrew was a really talented kid, and the character Spike was actually named for a kid, quote unquote, named Spike, that shopped at and worked at the store. And he was, what do we say about Spike? What's up, Spike? If you're listening, anyway, he was much more dynamic and energetic young man, to say the least. But Andrew played him a little bit more level-headed. But anyway, here we are at the end of the sequence already. I was just about to tell you about some of the symbolism in the sequence between Art and young Spike there, but there's just so much to say in these episodes, and they're so short. But that was the first moment where things start to come together for him, and he starts to understand there's something else at play.